Former President Trump has announced when he'll turn himself in to face charges that he meddled in the 2020 election in Georgia. Trump posted on social media that he'll surrender Thursday at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta. He has denied any wrongdoing and called the case against him election interference. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis gave Trump and 18 fellow co-defendants until noon on Friday to surrender voluntarily. They're facing racketeering charges, accused of scheming to try to overturn the results of the 2020 election in Georgia. We're joined now by NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney. And Ken, good morning. So, a few things we know. We know Trump's legal team appeared yesterday at the Fulton County Courthouse. They headed toward the DA's office. Trump's bond has been set at $200,000. What else should we know about the conditions for his surrender in just a couple days?
Good morning, Joe. Well, what we saw in that bond order was a set of conditions for Donald Trump that we didn't see in a similar bond order for his co-defendant, John Eastman, the lawyer, which was an explicit prohibition that Donald Trump not attempt to intimidate either witnesses, co-defendants, or others, jurors, potentially others involved in the case, including via posts on social media or reposts of the posts of others. So that was explicitly laid out in the conditions of his release. It's unlike anything we've seen in any of the other cases where he's been admonished verbally by some of the judges not to do that. In this case, it's in writing. And what that means is that if he violates these conditions, he could be brought before the judge and potentially his bond could be revoked and he could be jailed. Obviously, that is an extreme step and any judge would be extremely reluctant to do that. There's a First Amendment issue here, but that is what really stood out about the conditions of Donald Trump's release in this Fulton County case, and he's expected to turn himself in on Thursday, Jeff.
So, Ken, we know Trump's legal troubles have certainly not hurt his support. They maybe even helped his support. Our NBC News Des Moines Register poll now shows him with an even larger lead in Iowa after his indictment in Georgia. So where does the case go from here after Trump is eventually arraigned for the fourth time this year?
Well, now the question really becomes one of schedule. There are 4 criminal indictments against Donald Trump. These judges are now all going to have to work out when these cases can go to trial. Obviously, there are disputes in each one of them. Donald Trump's legal team is trying to delay as much as possible going to trial in any of these cases. So it remains to be seen which, if any of the 4, can reach trial before the November election, even as all that presidential campaigning plays out. And there are real questions about whether Donald Trump is going to be in a courtroom or on the campaign trail. We're in uncharted territory, and there's a lot of question marks, Joe.
Ken, while I have you, I also want to ask you about one of the federal cases. Trump's legal team last week proposed that the special counsel in this January 6th election interference trial, that trial be pushed back till April 2026. We understand the Justice Department has responded to that request. I'm guessing they don't want to wait till the next midterms.
No, they don't. Remember, they have proposed a trial date of next January, which a lot of people also think is unrealistic. But they've pushed back last night in a filing to the Trump team's request to delay this trial until 2026 by saying that even though there is a large volume of discovery that the special counsel is turning over to Trump's lawyers, 11.5 million pages, what the special counsel is saying is Donald Trump's lawyers don't need to read every single one of those pages, page by page. We're in an electronics era. They can do keyword searches. It's perfectly reasonable for them to digest this amount of discovery and go to trial within a reasonable time. But this goes to the scheduling issue I mentioned before. This is going to be an ongoing dispute. Judge Tanya Chutkan in that case is scheduled a hearing for August 28th to set a trial date. It may not hold, but we'll get the first indication of how she's thinking about when this case can go to trial, Joe.
Right, Ken, you're on top of all of it for us this morning. Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.